Hello and welcome to Season 5, Episode 17 of the Sajin Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Teale, and today, I promised I wouldn't make another episode about this, but I kind of have to because it's reached a tipping point level, and if you're wondering what I'm talking about, pause this now, jump back to Season 5, Episode 11, when I talked about making noise. And perhaps I've made too much noise. I'm not exactly sure, but what I'm going to talk about today is a deeply challenging and sort of eye-opening experience into what being a photographer and sort of a community leader here in Ulsan is like these days. And what I mean by that is that gone are the times where we as photographers, I think, can rally together as a community in certain aspects. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. As many of you know, I am a photographer here in Ulsan, South Korea, and I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And it's been largely filled with joy, community, creativity, and deep connections to this city and also to this country. However, going back to the episode 11 of the season, there's a situation that has been brewing for some time now, and I'm going to basically tell you a little bit about what I've been dealing with since about April of this year. Now, before I get into it, for those of you that I've talked to, or for those who you are maybe suspicious, I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm not accusing anyone that I may have known. I don't know who these people are who are doing the online attacks. I have no suspicions or any idea, and that's what makes this whole story that much worse. It's very difficult to sort of deal with when you're not sure who these people are, but you know that they're probably out in the area or in the community. So before people start getting their gears going, I'm not accusing anybody. I went down that path and it's not a good one. This is purely me explaining the situation and not pointing the finger at anybody at this moment in time. So starting April, I've been a target of relentless attacks on Reddit. My photos and even in the Ulsan subreddit, they've been creating sort of these fake accounts. And so what started as a few negative comments on my photos now has escalated into a constant troubling platform of harassment. And these individuals seem to be determined to paint me to be this attention-seeking idiot. And they continually have created fake account after fake account and have gone through the comments that I've made on other subreddits unrelated to photography and have made disparaging comments there. Now, their main, I think, intent is to disparage me as a human being, as a person here in Korea, which means that they probably have known me or they've known my work with Ulsan Online. I don't know. But they've, and this is the weirdest part, they've even taken aim at my grammar. And that's sort of a weird thing. One of the comments that was shared was basically saying that the only thing worse than my photography is my grammar, which is, yeah, I guess maybe that's fair enough, but what an odd comment to make. Now, while I typically welcome constructive criticism, if you go back to even the first episode of this podcast, you'll hear me talking about constructive criticism and how to handle it. This is more an assault on myself as a human being. This is bullying in 2024. This is guys being a bunch of shitheads. At first, I tried to brush this all off. You know, I made the podcast about making noise and I wasn't really too concerned about it. But I know that not everyone will like me. Not everyone will appreciate my photography. And you know, that's okay. But this has been going on now for several months. And it's kind of been taking a toll on my mental well-being. as it's becoming more and more of a frustration that I can't really do anything about. They know who I am. I have no idea who they are. There's no way I can really retaliate. And I've found myself drawn into this cycle of frustration, anger, and even, firing back at times, which is not really the person I strive to be. And it completely backfired in the sense that they used the screenshots of the DMs I sent one guy, at least I think it's a guy, and then they made a post in the Ulsan subreddit saying that I'm a unhinged psychopath. And that conversation, to be honest, was something very interesting because I did fire back. I was not polite. I was not using any teacher talk. I was using a lot of F bombs, calling this guy what he really is, a coward. And his retort was, I have a critical mind. Now, to put this into perspective, he wasn't saying, I don't like Jason's photography because I think it's oversaturated. What he was basically doing was lying and deceiving people on every photo that I had posted recently, saying that it's not an Ulsan or this is not what Ulsan looks like. He commented on the video that I did for the photography classes, saying that this is not at all what Ulsan is, blah, blah, blah. And those are basically outright deceitful lies. But of course, in his mind, he has probably a genius critical mind. But at any rate, he got a lifetime ban, which he felt was, quote, a little bit excessive, unquote. And the problem I have with that is that he then later went on to basically try and taunt me or goad me into retaliating again. A few weeks later, they shared the screenshots of that conversation. And the anonymity here of Reddit allows for these little shitheads to sort of hide in the shadows, making it really sort of difficult to address this situation directly because they don't want to be caught. That's natural. And the problem I have with it is they know who I am. They know what I look like. They know basically what I do. And it could be really anybody within this community. And that's the biggest problem I have with it because really and truthfully, this could be someone I worked with. You know what I mean? And they could be just pissing themselves with laughter because they know how to push all my buttons. It could be someone I've talked to through the Ulsan online Facebook community or something. They could be guys drinking at a local watering hole, something. But as I said before, I don't know who these people are. And that's what makes this situation all the more frustrating. Now, to add to this, these attacks come at probably one of the most challenging points in my life after the passing of my father. So during this time, my brother and my mother are both battling cancer. My mom has lung cancer, and my brother has prostate cancer, which he probably doesn't approve of me mentioning here, but I don't think he listens. I've been going through that and then dealing with these guys and the whole mental state that comes with being abroad and having your last two remaining family members come down with cancer. Questions about my own health have come up. And then we get a call saying that my father-in-law had a massive stroke. And we rushed to the hospital in Jongyu and basically had to figure out his options as well. During those times, I'm getting relentless attacks from these individuals. So as I sat in the ICU waiting to figure out what's going on and whether this will be the last time I see my father-in-law again or not, my phone is buzzing with messages from Reddit on photos that were shared across different platforms, and they're coming up as amateur, self-absorbed, overexposed, just basic, toxic, nasty messages. And it was incredibly disheartening to encounter such negativity during a time when I was desperate and in need of some sort of support. And what I'm getting at are these childish individuals blasting me for simply taking pictures and trying to help the community. So in response, I've reported these accounts to Reddit in numerous ways. I'm hoping now that they've got their ban done, because I had to go through and message the admins directly through the ban avoidance route. And I'm hoping that they got their accounts banned or something, whatever they do. But it just feels like a never ending cycle here. One particular confrontational interaction, which I mentioned before, when I DM'd the guy, just left me just shaken as a photographer, because this guy expressed outright disdain for my photography, stating that he genuinely hates my photography. And it's difficult to fathom that much strong negativity directing at someone like myself, who I'm just taking pictures, people. Like, I'm not trying to win $1 million, or I'm not trying to rig an election. I'm just taking pictures. When people message me about the community, I help them. When they need to know how to get to the hospital, I help them. And that's the sort of the thing I do. I'm not making millions of dollars, but why then is it, like this much negativity directed back at me? So really, there's not much I can do. I can, reach out to my contacts in the police department and see if they can do something. But I fear that they're just going to treat this as like a online squabble, which happens every day. And maybe it is. I don't know. But as this continues, as they share more and more information, or, make more and more fake accounts, I feel increasingly isolated and sort of in need of some sort of support, like something to happen, because it's just taking its toll. It's grinding me down. So this is where I turn to you guys. I'm reaching out to you for a bit of help. If you have any information, or if you heard anyone talking about, their little online exploits, please send me a message. If you have any information on how to handle this from a internet side of things, please let me know. But if you just simply want to lend your support in any way, whether it's by leaving a kind comment on this podcast or on my posts, or spreading some sort of positivity in our community, that would mean the world to me. Like, I'm dealing with a lot of this online harassment. It's something that I know many creators face. People have messaged me since my blog post about this. And it's a topic that really, I find it doesn't get enough attention here in Korea. It's easy to tell someone to ignore the haters, but in reality, it's much, much harder to do so, especially if they're persistent and just keep hammering and hammering those keyboards. Negative comments, especially those that are targeted at you directly and persistent. As I said before, this has been going on since April. It can really have a negative effect on your own mental health, your family's mental health, and your feeling of self-worth. And this is what I've been sort of going through, is because all of this stuff makes me question, what am I doing here? Am I doing enough? What's wrong with my photography? Am I talented enough? What's the purpose? So as creators, we put a piece of ourselves out when we take a picture. And I think it's true that when someone attacks your work, it feels personal. Like, it feels like someone's like, stomping on your dreams. So it's not just about photography, it's about the heart and soul that you put into it. And when that's attacked repeatedly, that goes on for months and months and months, it's incredibly difficult to sort of maintain the same level of passion and enthusiasm. Even putting out these episodes are very, very difficult right now. So I want to take a moment to talk about the importance of community. For many of us, our online communities are the source of inspiration and support. They're where we share our successes and our struggles, and where we find encouragement and motivation. When those communities become toxic, as I'm seeing it happen here in Ulsan, it can feel like you're losing a vital support system. That's why I think it's so important for us all to sort of foster positivity and kindness online, especially in the photography groups, because there's so few of us here. We never know what someone else is going through. These guys are probably thinking it's the funniest thing in the world to take shots at Jason Teale without regard of what exactly I'm going through. A simple kind comment as well can make a huge difference. If someone is there saying, I've got your back on this, it can be a light in the dark and a reminder that there are good people in these communities. So for those of you who are also facing online harassment, just know that you're not alone. You can reach out to me. I'll be there. It's okay to feel hurt, as I am, to feel frustrated, to feel angry, but it's also important to reach out for support and connect with those who can understand and maybe even offer some help. Whether it's friends, family, online communities, don't hesitate to lean on other people. And kind of flipping this around, for those of you that hear of people getting attacked, or if they're, naming people and making fun of them, don't hesitate to defend those people. There's a message on my phone that says, surround yourself with people who will fight for you in rooms that you aren't in. And I think that goes well with maturity. We're all teachers and professional people. Some of you are family men and stuff like that. Fight for the people that you see are getting picked on, because if it was your brother, your child, your friend, I would hope that you would stick up for them somehow. Because after all, with online anonymity, it's not about, getting pitchforks and whatnot and, surrounding people, but sometimes it's just simply saying like, hey, I know this person and fuck you, and if there's enough people that are going to basically push back, these guys are not going to try and single out somebody. They're just going to run away. It's that whole like water buffalo thing when the lion comes to sort of find the weakest member. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so as I navigate this challenging time, I'm reminded of why I started this journey in photography in the first place. It's my passion. It's how I express myself. It's how I connect with Korea. I won't let these assholes take that away from me. I hope that by sharing my story today, I can encourage you and others to keep pursuing your passions, whether it be writing, photography, or simply just hiking mountains. No matter what obstacles you face, carry on pursuing your passion. To those who have stood by me, who have offered the kind words recently and supported my work, thank you. Your encouragement means a lot to me. It means more than you know. And for those who have been willing to help me find the solution to harassment, if you know of some ways, your support is invaluable. Now let's continue to build a positive community that uplifts and inspires people, especially in the photography realm. Together we can make a difference. Together we can stand against these bullshit fucking assholes, and we can spread positivity. Hey, there we go. Thank you for listening to the Sajin Photography Podcast. If you have any thoughts or suggestions or information that could help, please don't hesitate to email me or reach out. You know how to find me. I'm all over the place. Your support makes all the difference. And until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and remember, we're all in this together. Thank you very much. Just a slight update. After I recorded this, I was very hesitant about even releasing it, but then just a couple of weeks ago, the harassment came back, but since then it's been quite quiet. However, the good news is that my mom is now cancer-free, and I think so is my brother. So thank you all for your support, and hopefully there'll be more good news in the future. But again, just please, thank you all for your kind words, and maybe the next podcast will be a much better one. So keep that in mind and have a great summer.